What's up, boxing fans? Gilberto Torres Jr. here with Torres Boxing. And I want to give my thoughts on the potential rematch between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was last in action a couple weeks back when he beat and outpointed Keith Thurman by way of split decision. I personally thought it was a little bit wider than that, but hey, nonetheless, the right man won the fight. And a very entertaining fight. Pacquiao at age 40 years of age. This man has defied the odds so many times. Lucas Matisse was a fighter that really didn't show any resistance. Adrian Broner, the same story, didn't show much resistance. And when he came into this Thurman bout, this was a real fight for the legendary fighter. You didn't know who was going to win. This was another pick'em fight, in my opinion, because you had Keith Thurman, who's undefeated, who was probably, up until this point and still is, the most accomplished fighter at welterweight, currently active. Bigger, stronger, youthful, against a legend of the sport, but an old legend. 40 years of age, Manny Pacquiao coming into this bout. He's seen so many great days of glory, where he's fought the likes of Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric El Terrible Morales, Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar de la Hoya, Miguel Cotto, and a host of other fighters, some of them which are Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. Manny Pacquiao has done it all. And yet he was in the ring with a young, prime, undefeated world champion, Keith Thurman, who had never tasted defeat, who was highly motivated for this fight. A lot of people want to say, oh, he was rusty, or there might still be some rust to him. I understand that he had been inactive for 2 years, but the man had just fought in January. Clearly, some of that rust had already come off. It wasn't like he was coming into this bout from 2 years of inactivity. He had already had some activity. He had already been heavy in training. So I'm not going to buy into that excuse that, hey, he was a rusty fighter, because he wasn't. And if you all remember clearly the fight against Josecito Lopez, Keith Thurman looked very good up until the point where he got clipped. Because honestly, when I started watching that fight between Keith Thurman and Josecito Lopez, I was like, man, we're probably going to see some ring rust from Keith Thurman, like we saw with Mikey Garcia when he came back after his 2+ years of inactivity against, I think it was Elio Rojas. And I noticed some ring rust on Mikey Garcia, and with Keith Thurman, I said, okay, we're probably going to see some of that too. I'm not expecting to see the Keith Thurman of old. But the first bell rang. For the first minute or so, Keith Thurman was looking like he was adjusting to his style, to the rhythm of things again. But for the first round on, he looked pretty good in my opinion. And if you guys disagree, let me know in the comment section. But personally, from my point of view, Keith Thurman was looking good from round 1 up until round 7, when he eventually got clipped by a monstrous right hand by Josecito Lopez. I want to say it was the right hand. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he got clipped. And from that moment on, he started to get on his bicycle, and he was obviously hurt. But he looked good prior to that. So now coming into this fight with Manny Pacquiao, he had that one fight back where he looked good. Yeah, he did also look bad when he got hurt. But he already had a full training camp. He already had a lot of sparring sessions. So I felt like this was as good of a Keith Thurman we were going to get. And he definitely brought it. So that was a very entertaining fight back and forth. I respect Keith Thurman, because the man, yes, he talked a lot of crap, and that annoyed me. Why wouldn't you not respect a legendary fighter like Manny Pacquiao? But when it came down to fight night, he really didn't run like some people thought he was. He didn't get on his bicycle and stay away from Pacquiao, forcing Pacquiao to come look for him. For the most part, he engaged with Pacquiao. He went toe-to-toe with Pacquiao. He gave fans the fight that he said he was going to give us. And at the end of the day, he showed respect, humility, and admiration for the legend. And that's I can respect that. Both fighters showed respect towards each other at the end of the fight, so I respect them. Like I said, Keith Thurman talked a lot of crap. I didn't really like that. I wasn't a fan of that. But the fight lived up to expectations in my opinion. So now to talk on the point that I wanted to talk about, Mayweather versus Pacquiao 2, MayPac 2. Are we going to see this fight or not? I'm going to be completely honest. Some of you may already know my stance on this, but I've always been the type of fan of Pacquiao that I'd rather see the man retire now at this point, especially after this great performance against Keith Thurman. I wasn't a big fan of him continuing a fight against Thurman, even Adrian Broner, since I think I started to see more of his age during the Horn fight. I do believe that he beat Horn. That was a robbery. Horn fought a very, very dirty fight in that bout in his backyard. The referee, I thought it was disgraceful. The man didn't do anything really to stop Horn to discourage Horn from fighting that way, the way he did. But I started to see a little bit more vulnerabilities in Pacquiao in that fight because of the way that Horn was able to kind of push him around. I feel like Pacquiao in his prime, even though Horn was bigger, he would have, his constant flurries would have kept Horn at bay on, or at least chasing him all night long. I can envision Pacquiao throwing flurries, a stinging fast combination, moving to the side, using his angles. Horn keeping his arms up when the flurries are coming at him. When he puts his arms down, Pacquiao's nowhere to be seen. He's on his left side. He's got to chase him down. That's the fight that I would have envisioned Pacquiao giving Horn had that fight happened during Pacquiao's prime. Again, not to say Pacquiao lost that fight, but he looked a little bit more vulnerable the way that that Horn was able to manhandle them. But even then, the way he bullied him around, pushed him around, I felt like a prime Pacquiao wouldn't have allowed that. But even then, I do feel that Pacquiao won that fight. He was connecting with some very powerful shots there. But I don't want to delve too much in there. I feel like I'm kind of losing focus on that. But since that Horn fight, I do feel like Pacquiao I saw a little bit more vulnerabilities in him. And now he decided to keep on fighting, right? And so every fight that gets made with Pacquiao at this stage of his career, I'm like, man, I really don't want him to fight anymore. I just want him to retire. He's got an established legacy already. But, of course, you have no choice but to support him and root for him once a fight gets made. But now that the Keith Thurman fight is over with, I'm going to hold firm on that and say that I'd prefer Manny Pacquiao to retire. He's done it all on the sport. And the only fight that I'd be okay with Manny Pacquiao taking at this stage would be a Mayweather rematch. Why? Because why not? These both men are similar in age. They're fighters from a different era. Pacquiao just beat a fighter from a new era. But Mayweather is someone who in his era has fought the type of opponents, the same opponents that Pacquiao has fought as well. So they're similar in age, from the same era. It's a historical fight because here you have a 5-division world champ in Mayweather. You have an 8-division world champ in Pacquiao. Two decorated fighters. This is boxing royalty. In the first fight was a big letdown. Pacquiao said that his shoulder was hurt and he immediately had surgery after that first bout. So we really didn't get the fight that we wished we could have gotten. And now at 40 years of age, 41, if the fight happens, in 2020, Pacquiao would be 41, Mayweather would be 43. These are older fighters, but Pacquiao has clearly demonstrated that he can still go. He still has some gas left in the tank. Mayweather has always stayed in shape, hasn't absorbed as much punishment as Pacquiao has because he's a defensive wizard in that ring. He's got great defense, whether you like him or not. He's one of the greatest defensive fighters we've seen in boxing. So these are two great fighters that could very well retire after a big fight between themselves. And I like the payday that Pacquiao would get because I think it's well deserved. Mayweather, of course, he's all about the money, so he'll get his money. Pacquiao, I think he deserves that payday, and it would also give him a chance at redemption. So, do I feel like this fight will be made? After their 2015 fight, a year or two later, there was always talks, will Mayweather Pacquiao rematch happen? Some said no. Why are they gonna do the rematch? We already saw Mayweather beat him cleanly. Beat him clearly. So why? But I was always under the impression that the fight will happen again, or had a high probability of happening again. Why? Because there is so much money involved in a second fight, and whether you're a fan of it happening or not, there's so much money involved that I do not see the fight. I don't see the fight not happening. Why? Because Pacquiao clearly wants it. His team wants it. Be a great fight for him, a chance of redemption, a big payday for him. He could ride off into the sunset and settle the score with his career rival. In Mayweather, his moniker is money. That's his nickname, money. And if Mayweather has shown us anything in the past, is that when big money is involved, that usually lures him out of retirement. That usually brings him back into the ring. So I do feel like if there's enough money involved that can pique the interest of Mayweather, Mayweather will come out of retirement and take the fight. He did it against Conor McGregor. Of course, that was a complete mismatch. He did it in Japan when he went to fight the MMA kickboxer over there. It was an exhibition mismatch, of course, but still, there's some big money involved for Mayweather. Now imagine this: Mayweather comes back, or Mayweather in his mind. I feel like there's variables in this whole thing. Big money, right? And I know that Leonard Ellerbe, who works with Mayweather, has said in the past, Mayweather's good. He doesn't need any more money. He's made smart investments. Okay, let's say monetarily he's fine. Financially, Mayweather is set. Does the idea of having even more money interest him? I think it could. But let's say that's not the main reason. But let's look at the fact, the competitive side to things. The whole debate between Mayweather and Pacquiao has been who's better. They're from a different era. They're all-time greats. You can very easily put them down on the best pound-for-pound fighters in history. It's up to you who's higher than the other. Where do you rank them? But there's that debate there. And there seems to be a good portion of fans that believe that Mayweather is the better fighter. And maybe that undefeated record has helped him a whole lot more. Pacquiao, on the other hand, has taken a lot more risk than Mayweather, so he's had some losses. But he's come back and fought harder. He took a massive KO loss to Juan Manuel Marquez back in 2012. And now look at him now at 40 years of age. He beat a prime undefeated welterweight to become the oldest welterweight champion in boxing. So these sort of fights, these sort of things are moving the needle on where Pacquiao, in this case, ranks on all-time great lists. And if there's something about Mayweather, it's his ego as well. It's the ego. Can you imagine Mayweather seeing the hype that Pacquiao is getting, seeing the discourse about Pacquiao being considered better than him knowing that he beat him already, and for others to be saying, yo, like Pacquiao, he just beat Keith Thurman. This man, he definitely ranks above Mayweather. He's higher on the all-time great list. I feel like those little things will start getting to Mayweather's head. The attention that Pacquiao's getting, the noise that he's making, the accomplishments that he's having at this stage. I feel like Mayweather's gonna say in his mind, hey, I beat this man, and I can beat him again. You know what they say, and what Mayweather likes when it comes to money, it's easy money, right? Mayweather always says easy money. That's easy work. I feel like Mayweather's gonna look at Pacquiao at this stage of his career and say, I beat this man already single-handedly. Mayweather doesn't believe the whole story of Pacquiao having a hurt shoulder. He doesn't believe that. He feels like that's a big excuse from Pacquiao. So in his mind, he's thinking he beat the man cleanly in that first fight, and he sees the dominance that he showed in that fight, and what if he thinks he can do it again? And he looks at this Pacquiao fight as easy money, big paycheck involved, more than $100 million that he could make from this one fight, a chance for him to end the argument of who's better, because there's a big argument about who was better, who's higher in the all-time great list, Pacquiao or Mayweather. And he looks at this as easy money. Look, I think this fight is gonna happen, and I hope it does happen for Pacquiao's sake. I know Mayweather, he could stay retired, he can do his thing, whatever, right? He's always been more of a careful fighter. When he started getting big, he started to take more careful risks. Pacquiao, man, he just went to war with a young prime lion, you know. And so I feel like Pacquiao's deserving of this huge payday and a chance at redemption. So for Pacquiao's sake, I hope it happens. But we'll see. Guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the fight is going to happen next? Yes, no? Do you want to see it happen? MayPac 2? Let me know in the comment section, guys. How do you think a rematch would go? Do you see it going the same way or differently? Let me know in the comment section, guys. But till next time, I'm out. God bless you. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications. Give it a like. And till next time, I'm out. God bless you guys. Have a great one.